I'm going to be keeping an eye for him behind me. He is with his grandchildren playing baseball. He's on the way in. He shouldn't be long. He'll probably look like a harassed grandfather having a great time, and I don't blame him. Why not? How often do you get to see your grandkids? Grandkids think you're the best. What's that old shirt that sits there and says, if I had known grandkids were this great, I wouldn't have had kids? Pretty much right on. But it doesn't work that way biology-wise, though, of course, right? Unless you think you can devolve and go backwards, which is the way this country is starting to go with the way it's dealing with its freedom of speech and all the rest. And let's start talking about that. And like I said, Dr. V will be coming on soon. Let's start talking about that, what the problem is, where we are, and why, and where I think we're going. But before we go, remember this: the economy is not looking good. Don't think it is, but remember this: no matter what anybody says, interest rates are going to be dropping, at least short term, because the president's going to be putting his people on there. Things will be going. Spartacus, just so you'll know, Dr. V is coming. He is late, but he is coming. He's with his grandson. They were watching, he and his wife were watching him play baseball. So he is on the way. And by the way, also, we got the technology fixed. But I can't do it. We have to test it first, but I can't do it to get him right on the phone. So that's why we have him sitting there waiting to go. He's coming. I'm happy he's having a great time. Either way, let's get back to where we were. We're in a situation where it feels like McCarthyism. It almost feels like what it was in the 50s. Now, I'm a little young for the 50s. I grew through the 50s. I didn't know it all that well. It wasn't something I really focused on. The Beatles were really the big bang for me. But I learned about it, heard about it, saw it, knew people who got affected by it. It was really crazy stuff. And that's what we're going on. That's what we're talking about here, is what is happening to the First Amendment in the United States. Not only the First Amendment, the other question, which I was just subtitled this as, is, are we all guilty until proven innocent? Have things changed now? It used to be innocent until proven guilty, but are we all now guilty until proven innocent? Unless, of course, we work in the Trump administration. Let's get back though to the first issue. What brought this up? Jimmy Kimmel, ABC. The first thing we hear is we've got understand how it worked time-wise. The FCC commissioner, I'm looking just to see if he's there. He isn't there yet, I'm sorry. The FCC commissioner was talking about having an interview on Wednesday with a a very right-wing MAGA personality talking about TV, talking about media, and mentioned that he didn't like something that Jimmy Kimmel said on, I believe it was Sunday, on Monday. Didn't like it. And if it wasn't going to change, he was going to take care of either the easy way or the hard way. That's a quote. That's from a government official who runs TV stations in America. Now, this was on a Wednesday. Kimmel came on Monday, just to get through this quickly. Nobody said anything Monday night. Nobody said anything Tuesday about what Kimmel said. Suddenly on Wednesday, after the FCC commissioner, the top guy, head man, who do we call him? Big Brother, part of Big Brother. He sat there, he comes out and says, either we're going to do it the easy way or the hard way. And suddenly a major group of affiliates that come together, it's Nexstar, forget Sinclair, they're very right wing, but Nexstar, who is waiting in front of the FCC to try to have a merger agreed with another group of local stations that would give Nexstar, understand, 80% control of the country. Nexstar would have TV stations in 80% of the United States. You call that local? And that's not even allowed under the FCC rules. So Nexstar, which is in front of the FCC, jumps up and goes, wow, I'm taking Jimmy Kimmel off. What did you expect Nexstar to do? Everybody knows everything is run from the top down in this administration. You know you got to make the president happy if you're in business, so you're going to roll over and give it to him or not. Well, Nexstar has applied to try to get this merger done. I think it's with a company called Tegna, to try to get this merger done by the end of September or October, and needs FCC approval, period. That's where it is. I'm just checking. Not there yet. Just checking for Dr. V. It needs FCC approval, and without FCC approval, they don't get it. So of course, Nexstar is going to jump up and start screaming and yelling about anything that was said. If the government said, if the man who's going to make the decision, we don't have to say names. He's the man who's going to make the decision, which really comes down from the president. It says, I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. I don't like what he said. I don't like anything about him. And you hear the president of the United States. Well, he really didn't say that. It's the president who said that. I don't like him. He's horrible. He's not funny. He's horrible. And after Colbert got kicked off of Paramount or off of CBS, he then said, well, Kimmel's next. Well, this isn't a bit obvious. So the heat comes down, and Nexstar, which wants the new rules so it could pocket billions. That's what this game is. It's all for business. How big is business going to get? So now Nexstar is going to own 80% of the market. They got a TV station in 80% if this merger goes through, and you can pretty much bet on it. 80% of the market because it's shut down Kimmel, and suddenly Kimmel's gone. That's not censorship. That's not shutting. What is this? I don't understand. This is what I hear. Senator Loomis, let's keep talking facts here. Forget the president. Senator Loomis from Wyoming said, quote, the First Amendment is no longer the ultimate right. I think that's a quote. It's pretty close to it. If it isn't, it's real close. How can the First Amendment not be the ultimate right? What is the ultimate right, Senator Loomis? The Second Amendment? About guns? You know, it's interesting. All these people who will talk about all these, hey, Guillermo, good seeing you, babe. I don't care about the tanking. I'm talking about the facts, Guillermo, about how government has come in and is forcing down our throats the message that it wants to hear. Let's get back to Senator Loomis. Senator Loomis said it's no longer the ultimate right. Like I'm saying, is the Second Amendment the ultimate right? How come all these people always say, most of these who believe that the First Amendment is no longer the ultimate right, that you should have any gun you want, any way you want it, built any way it is, bought anywhere, do whatever you want with it. Yet at the same time, the First Amendment doesn't matter. It's McCarthyism. McCarthyism, y'all don't know much about it, I assume. In the 50s, it came out, Senator McCarthy, were you a communist? Are you a communist? And suddenly everybody was a communist. And in Hollywood, people were losing jobs. People were losing it everywhere, because all you had to say was, that person is a communist. This sounds like the way the USSR, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, was for decades in East Germany, in all the Eastern European countries, where they had people turning in people and turning it over. And now you have the President of the United States not only saying he wanted Kimmel out, he wants other licenses pulled, because, as he says, 97%, I'm not giving the total quote, are critical of me, and therefore they shouldn't have a license. And the bottom line is 100% can be critical of you, Mr. President. It doesn't matter. They get their license because they get their license. So what if they're critical of you? Too bad. That's the idea. You go into public office. The president's been able to go in to become the president, to be able to sit down and make billions of dollars, he and his family, make billions of dollars on crypto, just loading up, making real money. Yet at the same time, nobody can say anything critical about him. He just wants to shut down licenses left and right. It's just from the top down. Listen to what your ears are telling you. Whether you agree with them or not, listen to what your ears are telling you. DOA knife. You never give up a right. You never give up a right. DOA, he's trying to take those rights away. Let's get that straight. That's where we are. Dale, how are you doing? It's just really interesting. Guillermo was tanking. It doesn't matter, hey, Guillermo, but it doesn't matter. You see, people don't want to, who even knows how much you're allowed to talk about this or how much you're allowed to say about this. It's like everybody's got to keep it quiet. You can't say anything. If you disagree with the government, you got a problem. We have been talking about this. Look at our live streams for months. The Ministry of Truth. Orwell, 1984, George Orwell. You got to read that book. I know most people didn't read it. I know when I grew up, history was major. But when our kids grew up, all we heard was STEM, STEM, STEM. You've been hearing me yell about it. There's been no history. Nobody learned history in this country. They were always just trying to teach them math and science, and it didn't work. STEM, 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 because people don't understand our heritage, our history that we all share as one, not as separate people, not as left, not as right. I keep coming on to this unity thing, and I don't know why people have such a problem with it. The First Amendment is for everyone. The First Amendment is for every American, period. The end. Every American has the right to say what they want to say. The limits are saying fire in a crowded theater. That's basically what it is, the metaphor. But that's where we are. Yet people want to keep coming in and just separate. You got this Senator Loomis. What are you doing, Senator Loomis? Why are you coming in and now saying the First Amendment isn't the ultimate right? It is the First Amendment. Our founders made it as the First Amendment. The founding fathers, they fought, they did everything. They tried to get the Constitution through. They couldn't do it. They couldn't get it passed until the Bill of Rights was attached. And the first right, the most important right, covered religion and media and the right to say what you want to say. That's the whole idea about America. It's the First Amendment, Senator Loomis. It's the First Amendment, President Trump. It's the First Amendment. It's what we are entitled to say. It's what we are allowed to do. Say what we think. Otherwise, why live here? Then we're no different than European countries or Arab countries or all whatever countries where people are, where the government is allowed to sit down and tell you what to say and what to think. What to think. Showski, I'm just talking about Americans right now, because the whole issue here is that the president doesn't believe Americans have the right to the First Amendment. Let's get down to that. Don't start changing the question. The question is, why is the president afraid? Why is the administration afraid? Afraid of free speech? Why are they afraid of letting it all hang out there? What is the problem? I mean, let's see where else they've gone with it. Did you see the other day? He wants Letitia James fired. Letitia James was the Attorney General in New York who ran on the platform of going after Trump. I don't know why, but they elected her up there. I don't live there. I can't answer for him. She went after him. She got a judgment against him. I think it's been vacated, but she got a judgment against him, and he wants her now. I'm not going to talk about the others. We'll get to the others soon. So he says that she committed mortgage fraud, and he wants an indictment to come down against her. But the U.S. attorney, the assistant U.S. attorney in the Eastern, I believe it's Eastern District of Virginia, very well respected, very well known, said, I can't do it. I want to do what the president wants, but I can't because there's not enough evidence. He didn't say it. He just wasn't bringing an indictment. So what does the president do? He just fires him. Too bad. I don't care if you don't think there's enough evidence. I, the president, think there's enough evidence. I, the president, think you should indict this person. If you don't, you're fired, and just does it. How is that any different than cutting off people's rights to say what they want to say? It's even worse. It's totally Big Brother telling you where it goes. And keep this in mind. When we talk about all this, they keep talking about mortgage fraud. And mortgage fraud that the president keeps talking about is that people signed for loans on 2 different loans saying that it was their principal residence. So they would have a house in this state and in state number 2, and say each one was a principal residence. Therefore, it was cheaper to get the mortgage, and the mortgage amount was lower. But we got a problem here because the president has 3 members of his administration who it appears did this. They've got, where is this? I'm sorry. We've got the Secretary of Labor. She did it with 2 of them. We have 2 others. We have the Secretary of Transportation. I'm going on memory here. He did it. He has 2 of them. And you go, wow, what's going on? How come the Trump cabinet members can get away with having multiple quote unquote principal residences, but they can't, but nobody else can. And if the others do, then they get indicted or they get charged, but the people who are on Trump's side doesn't get charged. Isn't that interesting? How about Tom Homan? You don't see any of this. He's the guy who's running ICE or getting rid of everybody. He was on Bill Maher last night, the other night, and he's talking, he's doing all this. Meanwhile, it appears that the FBI had him on video taking $50,000 in cash. In cash. So the president says, I don't like that, throws it out. I assume it's the president. The Justice Department said, we're not charging them, drop it, not even an issue, forget the investigation. So that goes on. So you could have 50 grand in cash going on a video, but it doesn't matter. You can have people coming out and saying what they believe, but it doesn't matter. You can come out and you can be clean, like it appears the Fed governor is, and he's trying to get rid of, okay? And it ends up, he says she's guilty until proven innocent. Listen to where all these people who are following through with the president and going all the way, but where he's starting and where all this is. It's not just you can't say what you believe. It's that if you say what you believe and I don't like what you believe, I, the president of the United States, are going to find you guilty until proven innocent of some charge. And I'm going to get the Justice Department to come after you. And if the lawyer who heads that up can't find charges, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I'll find somebody else who can and I'll just fire him. Is this where we're going? Is this where the First Amendment is? Is this where the Constitution is? I'm trying to understand this. Okay? Look at it. Be clean. Be upfront. Open your ears and open your eyes. It doesn't matter if you're left. It doesn't matter if you're middle. And it doesn't matter if you're right. You've got an administration that is sitting around right now and refusing to let people or bigger media groups say what they want to say without threat or fear of being intimidated, without threat or fear of being sued. He sued the New York Times for billions and billions. That was thrown out. It'll come back. It'll be smaller. But where's the proof? Why? Because they back Kamala Harris? That's what newspapers do. You surprised that the Times backed Kamala Harris? How is that defamation? But no, the president of the United States just wants to come down and do it and sue people and say, see, whatever you say, if I don't like it, if you say it, I'm coming after you. That's where the problem is. We're de-evolving. I keep coming back to it. It's so true. This is de-evolution. This isn't moving forward. This is government from the top down, running it strictly for the rich people. Because keep remembering what's happening. While he's doing this, he and his family and all the big businesses in this country are pumping cash and are going to be making real money. The owners of these businesses, all of them, because they're all catering to what he wants, to what he wants to hear, to what he wants to see. 1984, Orwell, I talked about this years ago here on Just an American Citizen. And look, we have all of our videos there on this. 1984, you have a ministry of truth. It doesn't matter what you say. It only matters what the ministry says. Did you see what they're doing with the forestry? Where is it? The forestry department or one of them, where the Park Service is now throwing out all pictures or most pictures or chunks of them concerning slavery and the Japanese internment. For those of you who don't remember the Japanese internment in World War II, we took American citizens of Japanese ethnicity and put them in jail, in a closed confinement area, gave kind of homes and all this. It was horrible. We just put them there. We had to pay them afterwards for what we did. American citizens along with those that weren't. But that's what we did. And now we're coming in here and now it's been determined that you can't see pictures of slavery. Come on. When I grew up, that's what history was. There's this picture, 1863. He wants it taken away where he took it away, where you have this person who was enslaved and beaten for, oh my Lord, what they did with the whip. How can you take that away from history? How can you take away what we did to American citizens of Japanese ethnicity? How can you take it away? And you don't look at it because it's bad. You look at it because you learned from it. You look at it because you didn't keep going backwards and devolving. You looked at it because you were able to be in a position where you just sat there and go, we are much better people than we were. We are a good people. We are a moral people. We made massive errors, but we dealt with it. And we are going to look at those errors and we're going to say, we are not going to do those again. Think about this. Here you're getting rid of these pictures of slavery and of the Japanese internment. Let's take you back through a little history. People don't like history here. Let's just take you back to a little history. I love history. When General Eisenhower, he was the head general, the general of the Allied troops, went into Germany and they took over, they came in, they went into the concentration camps and they called him and they said, you got to come and see this. And he came in and saw the bodies everywhere. He saw the corpses everywhere. He saw the ovens. He saw all of it. And he said, General Eisenhower said, we have to film this. We have to take pictures and do full videos so the world never forgets that it really happened, because people won't believe it. Because as our generation dies off, that's the general's generation, he became president of the United States, a pretty good one too. As our generation dies off, people won't believe it. They won't see it. They won't remember it. We have to film it. We have to have it as a living proof of what happened. He made the Germans in the area come and clean up and see it because they knew what was going on. It was open. That was General Dwight D. Eisenhower, who became president, Dwight D. Eisenhower. What would we say now if the president of the United States said, take those Holocaust pictures and videos and get rid of them? Why should we see them? Why should we look at them? It's not good. It's not good. Because you have to look at history. You have to remember history. You have to know what reality is. Everybody these days thinks the whole key is, wow, if you're out of the box, you're cool. If you're in the box, you're out of it. And I assume in the box is still running around with his grandson, so we're okay. If you're in the box, you're really cool. I'm sorry, you're out of it. But if you're out of the box, you know everything and you just know it, because if it's out of the box, it's got to be correct. And how wrong is that? We've had generations, centuries of learning, seeing what was wrong, getting better. You go 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Our founding fathers and families and people died to create this country, to give people equal rights, the Bill of Rights, and for people to sit back and go, it was a business decision. No, it wasn't. It was a business decision. Even Senator Cruz knows it wasn't. It's no business decision, and it isn't a business decision that ABC got rid of Kimmel just because you know the president wants everybody else out of there. He wants to clean them all out. That's where we are. What did our founding fathers die for? What did they do all this for? Why? We owe it to them. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our children. We owe it to our grandchildren. We have to maintain what we've got, and to let the president of the United States, through the FCC, through whatever group, just take control of things that are basic, which is our First Amendment. To have a senator say it's no longer the ultimate right. I don't know if it's an absolute quote, but it's pretty close. First Amendment is no longer the absolute right. When that is going on, we're in real deep trouble here, and we've got to understand and be prepared to deal with it and call it out. Just because the stock market goes up, and remember this, the fall of the American century, I talked about it for years. That's all part of what's going on here. And you wonder why the economy is going to be getting worse, and you see how the Russians are buzzing over all of our supposed friends in NATO. I told you, we don't have friends anymore. We don't have allies anymore. It's strictly a trade thing between the president, and he has taken it apart, and he loves Putin so much that all he does, and this is the conclusion I derive from all the times he threatens to take him down and to put sanctions on him. He doesn't have one sanction on Putin, doesn't have one sanction in Russia he's really focused on or anything. The Senate says they're going to do something, they do nothing. It's the same thing. We're letting Big Brother, which is Donald Trump, Big Brother tell us what's going on, which isn't the truth, letting it come down through the ministry of truth. So it homogenizes and cleans all the truth and the history out. So all we hear is one thing. And remember one other thing. Keep this in mind too. Another one of the jive stuff you hear. It's just the media doesn't hit the president 97% of the time badly. Fox News is the media. Fox News is like 50% of the media, and the rest of it, you got Newsmax, what is it, AOI, was America One, whatever it is. I see that sometimes. Those stations, they have more people watching than CNN or MSNBC or CNN, MSNBC together. Fox is mainstream America. Fox is who's putting the jive out there. Fox has the president on for interviews like 20 times a day. Exaggeration, of course. But he's there a whole lot because they're putting out what he wants them to put out. The ministry of truth. I don't hear Fox going up in arms about how their sister and brother media groups are getting handled. I don't hear them doing that. Trump would turn on them on Fox in a second if he thought Fox was turning on him. What are you talking about? This is where we are here. It is not good. It is not good. Dr. V, I'm happy he's with his grandson. Oh, there he is. Hold on. There he is. Oh, the doctor. Hold on. Where are you? Can you hear me, Joe?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I hear you. When'd you get on?
I've been chatting with Spartacus and Guillermo.
I'm sorry, I've been looking for you, but you were so far behind me, I couldn't see. I'm happy you were doing it. I told everybody the reason you weren't here was because you're being an incredible grandfather, out with your grandson, having a great time at the ball game. Right?
Yeah, we just had a bad connection there. I lost you for a second.
I said I told everybody how the reason you weren't here was because you were out with your grandson and having a great time, and what a great grandfather you are to be able to do that.
Well, it was fun. It's a beautiful day. They're 5 and 6 years of age, and they had a great time.
Well, I'm happy they did, because being with Grandpa Dr. V has got to be a great time. If you were my grandfather, I'd go with you anywhere. I'm sure I'd have a great time too. I wouldn't know what not to do. Man, that'd be all over me. Be feeding me, be taking me out to the games, be spoiling me, and then spoiling me again, and then spoiling me again. What a horrible grandfather he is. I can tell you that right now. They call him Grandpa Spoil Me Volpicelli. That's what they call him.
Absolutely.
That's what it is. So I was here, Joe, and I didn't know how much longer we were going to go. I'm sorry. You heard what's been going on about the First Amendment, where we've been standing and all this. Have you, can I throw one more thing out there, then I'll let you jump in. I assume you've heard most of it, but let me just throw one more thing out there. When people start talking about it only being left-wing violence or only being right-wing violence, once again, I want to get back to the unity theme, why we're not all together. When you hear these guys on the right, that's all they've been saying now is it's all left-wing violence. I kind of put a quick list together just so we can kind of remember some of them. How about Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma bomber? He took down the entire Oklahoma government building. How many people did he kill? Hundreds? Right wing. How about Gabby Gifford? Everybody forgets about Gabby Gifford. Her husband's a senator, but when she was in the House of Representatives, remember she got shot at a mall when she was out just talking to her constituents. How about in Charleston when that guy went in and shot all those black people at church? Remember that, Joe? That was horrible, okay? How about Mark and Marissa Hortman? Marissa Hortman, who was the state senator in Minnesota. Did the president drop the flag for her? No. And he says because the mayor didn't. He says because the governor didn't call him. But we didn't hear that when people talked to the president after she got shot, he belittled the governor, and nobody would have called him an ass. He could have done it. He didn't want to do it. And her dog was killed too. Think about that. She and her husband, but the dog The dog, the guy did it with a fake cop coming in there. And this John Huffman and event. How about Paul Pelosi, who still has concussion issues because the guy went after Nancy Pelosi? The point of fact is this. It doesn't matter if you're right or left. These are loonies. I mean, the guy who shot Charlie Kirk, I'm reading, was into furries. He was into furries, Joe. Think about this. He's into furries. This
is a mixed up guy.
This isn't left, right. This isn't left. This isn't right. This is furries. I mean, come on. Don't let the president, don't let Big Brother, 1984, don't let Big Brother separate us over furries. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. You have any furries you ever dealt with, Joe?
I have not dealt with anyone who's into furries, but it's pretty clear the guy was confused, to say the least. And it, you know, when this happened, we were doing a live stream on I guess it was a Wednesday, and my impression before I knew anything at all about the killer, I made the assumption that he was a young white guy who's confused and has some mental issues. And it turns out was probably correct. And it's, I don't have a crystal ball, but it seems to be that's the modus operandi of many of the people who do these kind of shootings, that there's a lot of people who are confused, who are dealing with mental health issues, and they find an outlet by violence. And we have to stop that. We have to turn the overall heat down. And you know, I heard a good expression the other day that for the American eagle to fly, you need the left wing and the right wing. You need both wings to fly.
Right.
And I think that's what this channel is all about. It's called an American citizen. And what's a citizen? A citizen is someone who respects other citizens, respects other people, is concerned not just with their own self-interest, but the self-interest of the community, of the country. And I think people are losing sight of that. And I do believe most Americans ascribe to this principle that we do better when everyone does better. And I hate that some people seem to be trying to take advantage of hate and revenge, which creates a horrible, vicious cycle that when you're attacked, when you're threatened, you feel compelled to threaten the other person. And it creates a horrible cycle. And the only solution is that, you know, if you don't get out of that cycle, that both people are going to suffer.
Go down the drain.
I heard an expression. If you're out for violence, if you're out for revenge, you might as well dig two graves. One for your enemy and one for you. And the research backs this up, that people who harbor anger, who harbor this sense of revenge, it may feel good temporarily, but the net effect is it hurts you in the long run. It hurts you. You wind up not protecting yourself, not defending yourself, but you wind up hurting yourself. And I think people need to look at that and do something about it. And there are examples of that out there. I've seen many examples where people say, look, we have to turn down the heat. We have to respect people's freedom of speech. You know, politicians on the left and the right have said that. They think even, what's his name, the senator from Texas.
Cruz.
Cruz even said it.
I mentioned that.
To protect the First Amendment. And,
right.
And, you know, that includes people are going to say things that bother you, that upset you. And that's okay. You don't have to react to that. You don't have to react to that. But the hypocrisy on both sides is horrible. You know, and it's like a squabbling couple. And everyone can find something to justify their own anger, justify their sense of revenge, but it's not going to lead anywhere good.
It's more than squabbling, if I may, Joe. It is violent. It is nasty. I wish we were just squabbling with each other. It is absolutely nasty out there.
Unfortunately, some of the people look at the anger, look at the squabbling, and because things aren't right in their own head, they take it to extremes, and that includes violence.
And people seem to think that's the answer, and that's the easy way to do it. And you're justified by taking somebody's life because whatever they did bothered you enough that you're justified to do it. It's just to me.
When you see your enemy not as a person, not as someone who has the same needs and desires that you have, as an animal, then you can feel justified in treating them like that.
That's why.
And it's bad. It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's terrible. Let me just jump in a little bit on this.
Sure.
It's all terrible, okay? And we have been all for unity and all this, but let's get this one thing straight. This is coming from the top down. You've got a president who is pushing hate. You got a president who's not doing anything to bring us together. Everything that Joe talked about, the president's doing the exact opposite. There's no question about this, okay? When all he wants to do is say, I want these people indicted or else, or you be quiet or else, or you don't say the right thing and you lose your license or else, or you do this and you get indicted here, or you lose your business there, or you can't teach what you want to teach, or you can't defend these people. That's what's going on here, and it's coming from the top down. And yeah, we need unity. I believe in it big time, but it's got to start from the right wing in a bit, where the Democrats are definitely on their heels, except for a few. Most are going, wow, yeah, horrible, this is the worst. I mean, you're going to get some crazies on the left who are probably doing their X stuff. I don't read X. I'm not on X. What a waste of time. Why people even talk to people on X? Because you ain't talking. You just have people yelling and gaggling with each other. It's jive. But if you want to do it right on, that's America. But most people on the left are going, it was just horrible what happened to this guy. I also don't know why most people even watch the video. I refuse. I'd rather know when it's not real and watch it on TV than watch something real like that. That's horrible. It makes it even easier for people to accept, I suppose. I don't know. All I know is the hate has got to stop from the top. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene saying we got to split up. You got people talking about divorce. How do you divorce the United States? We are the United States. And those who are talking about divorcing, and those who are talking about hate, and those who are saying, if I don't like what you say, I'm gonna censor you. We as a group, it doesn't matter right or left, have to say, no way. Break the chains. Don't sit back and say because he said it, and if Trump says it, everything is good. I have to let him get away with whatever he says. I'm reading this one guy I think it was the Journal. He still kind of likes him, even though his wife got smacked, really died, I believe, and he got screwed with the layoffs. And he go, well, maybe I have to accept some punishment, some of the hardships for the rest of the country. What? What are we talking about? This guy, they wouldn't let him off to bereave his wife, to work with his wife when she was sick. That's what that was. Great job by the Trump administration there. Either way, great article was in the Journal. Either way, that's where we are. I think it was in the Journal. That, if it wasn't, I'll put into a post where it was. That's where we are. And if we don't stop having that group yelling at us, if they yell at us, just sit there and go, no. I'm watching Bill Maher last night. You got two people wanting Maher, and Maher's pretty much, they're all sitting there going, yeah, well, it's everybody. It isn't everybody right now. It is those who are talking from the top saying it's horrible. And remember the lies once again. 97% of the stories are against Trump. No. Fox rules. Look at Fox numbers. Google Fox viewers is against CNN and MSNBC. I think if you join the two, CNN and MSNBC, it's less than Fox. That is mainstream media, and they are pumping out Trump's BS. Okay? They got one guy, Jesse Waters, I think he talked about war once. I mean, recently, the week or two ago after the Kirk thing. You got Brian Kilmeade talking about killing homeless. It took him a day to figure out he shouldn't have said that. What's going on TV? What's going on in America? And see where it's coming from. And people should be going back and saying, I don't want to hear it. BS, wrong. And I'm sure when we have this today, is it today? I think it's today, Joe. The memorial to Charlie Kirk. It's going to be all anti-left. It's going to be all anti-America. It's not going to be pro-America. Because when you tell people they can't tell you what they think, they are anti-America. Remember this. The President of the United States and these senators, including Senator Loomis, swore that they would protect and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. And they're not doing it when they don't support the Bill of Rights and the Constitution of the United States. And it's that simple, and that's where it is. Joe, that's what I think. Boom. It's yours if there's any more. Go ahead.
I hear what you're saying, Mark, and, it's hard to disagree that, at the top, they're not doing a very good job of trying to bring the country together, and that's what you normally expect from your president. But where I disagree with you is, if you just point a finger at the other side, you're not going to change anything. You're not going to change anything. Yeah, you can rail, we can be a couple old guys sitting on the porch and just complaining about things, but that's not going to change things.
I'm not pointing, Joe. I've been pushing unity as strong as anybody's been pushed. How many shows have we had? But you still got to say the truth. You still when the president how do you turn down the heat if the president? Tell me how the president. You tell me how you're turning it down with the president. Tell me how you're turning it down with the president. Because if you don't turn it down with the president, it doesn't turn down. So I want you to tell me. Don't tell me how you turn it down with your neighbor. Don't tell me how you turn it down with the guy from a different state. Don't tell me any of that, Joe. Tell me how you turn down the president of the United States to quit talking hate, to quit talking putting people out, to quit talking taking away your First Amendment. That's what I want. Nobody else. The president, because if it stops at the president, it won't go anywhere. It'll stop. But that's what the problem is. That's the problem. It's not the people, it's the president. I'm sorry. You tell me how you can turn him down, then I'm going to say, I'll hoist you on my shoulders.
Okay. The president is clear to me, and I think it's clear to everyone, does things because it makes him feel good. He's incredibly sensitive to criticism, and he's been that way forever. And he tends to do things which is going to give him approval. It's going to give him attention. It's almost like he's addicted to attention. And so when you point fingers at other people, it gets his base riled up and gives him what he's looking for, his drug, which is attention. Okay? So how do you fix that? Right now, he won the election. He got more than, X% of people got more votes than Biden.
Who's arguing?
Position of authority.
Okay.
And the way to counter that, and it's not going to happen overnight, is if enough Americans say they've had enough of this, that they don't want to keep feeding this guy's ego, that they're interested in solving problems, not just getting stuff off their chest, not feeling good temporarily, but they're really serious about the grandkids. They really are serious about improving the country. They're really serious about dealing with the issues at the border, the issues of immigration.
But they're not.
Dealing with issues of violence.
But they're not.
Dealing
not.
with issues of healthcare.
They're not.
People's health.
They're not. But they're not.
Serious about that.
But they're not serious. I love you. You still deal with data. Data doesn't mean anything anymore. Did you see where they just came out and said they used to have this where they looked at see how hungry people are? They do it yearly to see where it is and where hunger is. Trump got rid of that. That ended because they don't want to know where people have trouble, where people can't eat, or how many people aren't eating, and how many people are having hunger. I'm with you, Joe. The bottom line is we need the real. We need the real. And people...
Is the people saying, we don't want this.
But they're not saying it. They're backing...
Really want. Or is it the case that the majority of Americans really don't care?
No, the majority of them
live in a cocoon where issues are not solved, but they feel good that they can point a finger at the other party and say all the problems are related to that side.
That's what it is now.
I would maintain that the left wing is not innocent in this.
Who said they are? I'm not saying that. You're coming down to issues. I love you. I don't disagree. All I'm saying is we still have to look at the facts. You go into court, there are facts. When you've got a president saying to a U.S. attorney, you are fired unless you indict somebody, Joe, that's authoritarianism. That isn't making him feel good. That would be like what happened at the CDC. This lady, what was her name, Moran's, the one who testified. Remember,
she stood up,
and because Kennedy said, right, and Kennedy, what did Kennedy, right, but what did Kennedy say? No, wait a second. What did Kennedy say? Kennedy said, you are going to say this, okay? And she refused to say it. What's going on here, though, is the president is telling the government, I'm telling the lawyers, you know how I've been feeling about this whole, how he's destroyed the legal system, how he's telling him, you don't indict, you lose a job. That's guilty until proven innocent. When you've got 3 people in your cabinet, Joe, Lee Zeldin, Bill Pulte's father and stepmother, Pulte, who is a super wealth from Pulte Homes, who's turning in people, his father and stepmother had 2 mortgages like that. Homestead exemptions in Michigan and Florida. As soon as it came out the other day, Michigan shut the exemptions down. That's what's going on. You got Tom Homan inside, an inside guy running ICE or whatever, with on video getting $50,000 in cash, and the FBI's been told they can't investigate it anymore. This is not making people feel good. This is reality. This is the truth of what's happening. And most people, I agree with you on this, have to stand up and say, wow, if they do it to him, they're going to do it to me. We either stand together or we stand alone. There's always going to be that group that's going to do whatever Trump wants. But I've been telling you, we got to focus on the independents and all those who are just don't care about what Trump wants and only care about having a good economy, a great country, and the right to maintain your rights. This is the real, man. When you tell somebody you indict or you lose your job, that's authoritarian. That's not feeling good. That's violating the Constitution of the United States. That's what it is, Joe. That's reality. I'm not mad at you. It upsets me because I believe in the Constitution and I believe in how this stuff works. And when this is out and out cronyism. You are my boy, so I'm letting you off. You I don't like, so I'm coming after you. I've never seen this before. It's not Biden pushed YouTube. I'm sorry, pushed Meta a little bit. They didn't go in firing willy-nilly state's attorneys because they didn't like what they were doing. They didn't send in troops. They didn't do any of this. That's what's going on. They didn't pay off Eric Adams and have Eric Adams didn't pay him off, had to make this big deal so he gets off. That's what's happening with all these guys. This is absolute cronyism. Come on. You want to let him put $5 billion in his pocket? Fine. But then you don't get people together by ignoring the violations of the Constitution and people's individual rights. Now, that's where I am.
Well, I hear what you're saying, and you make really good points. But if you want to change things, you have to ask the question, why? Why is Trump doing that? From his perspective, and you need to understand the other person's perspective if you want to solve the issue.
Right, he was
doing. Like say he's just pure evil or something.
I didn't say that.
That's not going to solve the issue.
I didn't say that. He's just violating the Constitution. His job.
So why is the Constitution not being defended? That's the question.
Right, and that's why we're appealing to people. But we're not appealing and saying you got to kiss the big brothers took us. We're talking to regular people, Joe. That's the whole, at least the way I've always looked at this. And by the way, everybody, we're going to be on the phone on Wednesday together as one next to the other, kissing brothers, baby, because we're back. I think we got the whole technology thing fixed. We'll know after this, but I think we got it done. Either way, that's what's going on. It's just an out and it's flagrant. The question's going to be, will the Supreme Court be the supine court? I mean, think about it, Joe. This guy has looked at somebody and said, I have looked at your documents and I have unilaterally decided that you are guilty of fraud. Okay? This is what's going on. This is reality. That's what he said to the Fed governor. You are guilty of fraud. And therefore, since you are guilty of fraud, I want you to lose your job and you're out of there. That's called guilty until proven innocent. It's all being turned on its head. It's just crazy.
You know, it's Paul Revere, you sound the alarm, but what are we gonna do about it?
We talk to our friends.
Like that.
We keep talking. We keep saying what's wrong. We can, at least, because I don't think people see it, Joe. I don't think people care. I think most people see, you know, they talked years
If
ago.
people don't care, then they're gonna get what they.
No way, baby. Well, you can say
If
that.
people don't see it, whose job is it to present the case?
Ours. That's how I look at it, and that's my legacy. And if you don't agree, you don't have to. But I feel that what I got to. I've lived through this. I've seen this. I've seen this kind of stuff go on. Not at this level, but I've seen this kind of stuff go on. Was born during the time of something like this. Just think, if there was media like this, Joe McCarthy would have been president of the United States. So you have all this going on, and people are just going, and I agree with people just going, hey, I agree. It's because he wants to get the stock market up. He knows the rich people, the top 10%, are cleaning up. All the numbers show. We've gone on all of our live streams and showed all those numbers, the big split between those who have the money and those, the great majority that don't. And he's just playing them. It's making people happy. They'll throw out some cookies to the people. I'm going to go out and have a good time. That's what's going on. Meanwhile, our rights are being taken. And if people don't want to hear it, fine. But the way I look at it is, if I'm a guy echoing in the night, I don't care. I'm going to keep doing it because I don't care. We got to call it out. We lived through it, Joe. We lived through it. Mike, what is Mike saying here? Hold on. Mike. No, because Bob Iger, I don't care
So
about
what do you think about the Kimmel situation, Mark?
We already kind of talked about it before you came on, Joe, but I'll jump it quickly again, just very quickly. These are the facts, okay? On Monday, Kimmel did his thing, whatever it was he said that bummed him out. Nobody said anything. On Tuesday, nobody said anything. On Wednesday, the head of the FCC goes on the MAGA guys, it was Ben Johnson or somebody, I don't know, I could be wrong, his show, and says, if ABC doesn't take care of this easy, we have to do it the hard way. That's what he said. That was on Wednesday. Immediately after he said that, Nexstar, who has pending before the FCC a merger agreement which would give them local stations in 80% of the United States, 80% against the rules, came out and said, oh, we're getting rid of them. We don't want to hear about it. Goodbye, Kimmel. Sinclair has always been super right-wing. Goodbye, Kimmel. That's what happened because Nexstar knows the rules are you can't have 80% of a whole country like that with locals. They allowed it. So that's what they want, and they're hoping the FCC will do it. So when the FCC says, well, we're going to do it the easy way or the hard way, business steps in for the FCC. And that's what happened because those are the dates. Monday, nothing happened. Tuesday, nothing happened. Wednesday, as soon as the FCC said something, Nexstar came in. And the question is, how long will it be before the Nexstar merger with Tegna is done, Joe? So I talked about that at the beginning, and that's what that is. It appears to be a standard, I'll wash your hand, you wash my hand. And government allowing business to step in for it so people can go, oh, it's business. It ain't business. It's government. If he didn't say anything, it wouldn't have happened.
I mean, if it's the case that his show was losing money and it was a business decision, that's one thing. But if it was a case that they caved in because the government threatened them, and threatened their license, then that's just caving in. And we talked before about profiles and courage, that, who's going to stand up, and it sounds like many of our big institutions are caving in, and that includes big law firms, that includes universities, that includes ABC and media companies, that includes newspapers. It's really sad to see that the institutions that we thought would stand up for democracy are caving in, and they're looking after their own financial interests. I would just say, when you decide to do something, ask yourself the question, is it just good for me now, or is it good for citizens, the country as a whole? Is it good for the future? Is it good for my grandkids? And if your decisions are based on what makes you feel good now, what fills your pockets now, ask yourself if that's who you want to be. Or do you want to be somebody who builds a great country for your grandkids to grow up in? And that's the fundamental question that we have to ask.
It is.
And if it's to build the country, then sometimes you have to stand up to people who are bullies. And it may mean personal sacrifice. And there are some people doing that. And I think those are the folks that we should celebrate. We can look at the people who are caving, and it's clear that it's in their financial interest to cave, but is it really going to satisfy the beast? Because I think your bullies are fueled by a craving, a desire that isn't satiated by just giving into them. And I'm worried that, they ask for 10% now, next month it could be 20%. I don't think it's going to serve their long-term best interest by caving in. But I don't know. I'd be curious to see what people in the chat have to say about it.
Joe, you're so right. Mike, Joe hit it head on the nose. That was a grand slam, Joe. Mike, let me just say, you're talking about the ABC affiliates. You have Nexstar, Mike. This is the facts. And it was Nexstar that got upset because Nexstar wants 80% of the country. They want local stations in 80% of the country, and they don't have it. It's against the rules. So they're trying to buy Tegna to do it. I think it's Tegna. And they need FCC approval. What easier way? 2 days later, so the minute after the FCC starts moaning about Kimmel, they yank Kimmel. It's just too perfect. It's just too obvious. And then afterwards, the President of the United States comes on and says, how great was that? And who's next and who are we after next? We're going after everybody. And you can't just look at these little pieces. You got to look at it as all one. But either way, I think that's kind of where we are. And Joe, I've been devoing, but I want to go a little bit farther here is just throw something in. Last week we talked about Inagata Devita and Iron Butterfly and how people are like in their psychedelic heads because they all think it's easy and we're all getting away with it. I decided, since we're all in our psychedelic heads at this time, I would bring out the psychedelic album that was maybe the greatest first album a group ever released. Now, Meet the Beatles was definitely the Big Bang, but this album to me was the greatest album that somebody could put out as a first album and cannot be ever topped. Maybe a couple could come close, but never be topped. And it keeps people in their psychedelic head because everybody's tripping. They're all out of it. You ready? Jimi Hendrix. Are you experienced? What an album. Joe, Hendrix.
Oh, good stuff.
Hendrix, Are You Experienced? Joe, the greatest, maybe the greatest opening album of all time. Every song on here, there's no greatest hits of Hendrix. Just turn it on. Purple Haze, Manic Depression, Hey Joe, is this love or is it confusion? May this be today. I don't live today. The wind cries Mary, beautiful fire. Third stone from the sun, total psychedelia. Foxy Lady, and Are You Experienced? And blows into two more great albums. He kind of goes here and then dies off with Jim Morrison and Janis. What was that? 1971, I believe, or 70 or 71. Sad, but what a great album. Are You Experienced? Jimi Hendrix Experience. Blew out in Monterey, came out with this album, took over the world. Maybe the greatest rock guitarist of all time. Joe, no alarm clocks here, Joe.
No alarm clocks.
No alarm clocks. Okay, I'm going to let Joe get back to his grandchildren. We're there. I love y'all. It's cool. Beautiful day. Sunday football. Enjoy. We'll talk with you. Ravens play Monday. So go Ravens on Monday. That we have a major injury. Joe, who are the Eagles playing today?
They play the Rams. My stepson is at the game. That's why I have the grandkids.
Even better. Go Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. Ravens. Ravens against the Lions on Monday. Joe, I love you. Rock and roll. I want to see the kitchen. Can't wait.
Yeah,
and
a couple weeks.
If you're square, we ain't there. And that's the way it is.
Period.
And we'll see you. I keep doing that. We'll see you Wednesday. Take it easy.